Good morning. Thank you for inviting me to join you today in Ulaanbaatar for this regional conference on women's political participation. Women's political participation is a subject I know intimately and one that I fiercely support. In 2012, UN Women is placing special emphasis on women political participation and economic empowerment. Women's full and equal participation makes economies and democracies grow stronger. A government cannot be truly representative of a society if women are excluded from power and decision-making processes. Women make up half of the electorate in most countries, and yet they continue to be underrepresented as candidates and officials in public office. The International Parliamentary Union and UN Women recently launched a new map on women's political participation, and the analysis has distinct figures for Asia and for the Pacific states. For Asia, the regional average for women members of parliament is just under 18%, virtually unchanged for 2010. Out of 6 chambers that held elections in Asia last year, only the lower house of Thailand saw an increase in women members of parliament. The country also elected a female prime minister for the first time. The number of women in government in Asia has increased from 8.3% to 10.5% since 2005. For the Pacific, the regional average for women in parliament is 14.9%. But if we take out Australia and New Zealand, that average would be 3.5%. The majority of the parliaments in the world without any women at all are in the Pacific region. However, there are encouraging developments. The Samoan Prime Minister has announced a 10% quota for women to be introduced for the next election, while the issue of reserving seats is being widely debated in several of the Pacific Island states. The number of women in government in the Pacific has increased from 10.5% to 11.5% since 2005. For our part, UN Women is supporting countries in expanding the number of women holding public office, in line with the resolution adopted by the UN General Assembly last December. One way we can do that is by advising on the adoption of laws that include a quota system, because we know that temporary special measures, such as quotas, accelerate women's participation in politics. Of the 59 countries that held elections in 2011, 17 of them had legislated quotas. Women gained 27% of parliamentary seats in these countries, compared to only 16% in countries without quotas. In this context, I congratulate the Parliament of Mongolia for adopting the Gender Equality Law in 2010. This law not only prohibits discrimination on the basis of gender in the political sphere, it also requires political parties to have no less than 25% of members of either sex in the composition of the national and local councils of political parties. And I understand that this law also requires political parties to provide equal financial support to all candidates, both women and men. And I am hopeful that these measures, combined with the decision taken last year to reform the electoral system and introduce a 20% quota for women candidates, will provide Mongolian women with new political opportunities in the upcoming parliamentary election in June. Equal representation in public life is not only a human right. Its achievement promises social and economic benefits. This regional conference provides an excellent opportunity to review progress, but also to review obstacles in order to identify next steps and the ones after that. UN Women is proud to be your partner as you take those next steps and foster inclusive and egalitarian society. I thank you and wish you much success.